Picture this. You've been hitting the gym for months, maybe years. Every Monday is chest day. You load the bar, crank out your sets, maybe even throw in some push-ups for good measure. You leave drenched in sweat, thinking, "Yeah, I smashed it today." But then, you catch a photo of yourself at the beach, or you glance in the mirror while flexing. And there it is, that frustrating reality. Your chest looks the same as it did last summer. Flat, no shape, no thickness. And here's the part that stings. It's not because you're lazy or because you're not training hard enough. It's because you're making tiny mistakes that, over time, rob your pecs of every ounce of progress. Mistakes you probably don't even know you're making. See, the chest is more than just a muscle group. It's a statement piece. When it's developed, it shouts strength, power, and symmetry. It turns a simple t-shirt into armor. But when it's underdeveloped, it's like showing up to the party in a suit, with flip-flops. And here's the crazy thing. Some of the most common chest training habits are actually holding you back. They feel right. They look right. But in reality, they're sabotaging every rep you do. That's why in this video, I'm going to walk you through 8 of the most overlooked chest training mistakes and how to fix them fast. I'll break them down in a way you've probably never heard before, so you'll leave knowing exactly what to change next time you touch a bench. Stick with me until the end, because odds are you're guilty of at least one of these. And fixing just that one thing could be the reason your chest finally starts to grow. If this is already hitting close to home, hit that subscribe button, because what's coming next might just change the way you train forever. Mistake number 1. Ignoring the power of the eccentric. Let me paint you a picture. You're on the bench press, hands wrapped tight around the bar. You unrack it, drop it fast to your chest, and then, boom! You press it back up like you're trying to launch it into orbit. Feels strong, right? Wrong. That quick drop is costing you a massive chunk of potential muscle growth. See, the eccentric, the lowering part of any lift, is not just some transition before the push. It's the part where your pec fibers are under maximum tension while being stretched. That combo triggers the kind of microscopic muscle damage your body rebuilds into bigger, stronger fibers. Ignore it, and you're basically leaving growth on the table every single set. In fact, research shows that the eccentric phase can account for up to 70% of the hypertrophy stimulus in a lift. Think about that. If you're letting the weight fall without control, you're throwing away the majority of your gains. And you might not even realize it. The worst part? That sloppy drop isn't just robbing your pecs. It's setting you up for injury. When the bar free falls, your shoulders and elbows take a beating they're not designed for. That's why guys who train heavy without controlling the eccentric often end up with shoulder pain before they ever see a full chest. The fix. Next time you bench, imagine the bar is a loaded spring trying to snap back down, and it's your job to slow it with pure muscle power. Lower it in about 2 to 3 seconds, keeping your chest up and shoulder blades locked tight against the bench. No bounce, no rush. Constant tension. You should feel your pecs actively resisting gravity the whole way. Can't do that with your current weight? Good. That means you've found the real problem. Drop the load by 10 to 20%. Own the movement and focus on quality reps. Your ego might take a hit for a couple weeks, but when your chest finally starts to pop, you'll know it was worth it. Master this one change, and suddenly every set you do works harder for you, instead of you working harder for less. Mistake number 2. Cutting your range of motion short. So now you're controlling the weight on the way down. Great. But here's where a ton of people still kill their chest gains. They never let the muscle work through its full stretch. I see it every week. Guys loading up the bar, lowering it only halfway, then locking it out fast at the top. Looks powerful, but it's basically a triceps and ego workout at that point. The pecs? They're barely getting an invite. Here's the thing. When you cut your range of motion short, you rob your pecs of the stretch they need to activate more muscle fibers. That deep stretch under tension at the bottom of a press is like gold for growth. It creates tiny tears in the muscle, the good kind, and triggers a stretch reflex that lets you produce more power on the way back up. The fix: on barbell or dumbbell bench presses, lower the weight until it's just above your chest. No bouncing, no collapsing your wrists. You want to feel that tension deep in the pecs without letting your shoulders roll forward. Then press back up, extending fully without snapping your elbows into a hard lockout. For dumbbell flies, let the weights come down until you feel that solid stretch in your pecs, usually just below chest level. And then squeeze them back together at the top like you're trying to crush a beach ball. And here's the bonus. Working through the full range of motion doesn't just make your chest grow faster, it makes it look better. Because you're not just adding muscle, you're shaping it through every inch of the movement. If the weight feels impossible in the full range, drop it. Perfect form with lighter weight will build a better chest than half reps, with a bar that's just there to impress the guy curling in the squat rack. Mistake number 3. Training the chest like it's just one muscle. Most lifters hit chest day thinking of the pecs as one single slab of muscle. In reality, you've got different regions, upper, middle, and lower, and each responds better to certain angles and exercises. Ignore that, and you'll end up with a chest that's strong but flat and uneven. The upper chest, also called the clavicular portion, is the hardest for most people to build. It's what creates that shelf right under your collarbone and gives your chest a 3D look from the side. The middle chest gives you width and density across the front. The lower chest shapes that sharp line at the bottom, giving your torso a clean, athletic finish. If all you ever do is flat bench and call it a day, you're probably overdeveloping the midsection while the upper portion lags behind. A big reason some physiques look bottom-heavy in the chest. The fix: include at least one movement for each portion of the chest in every workout. For upper chest, think incline bench press, low to high cable crossovers, or incline dumbbell flies. For the middle, flat bench variations work well. For the lower chest, decline presses, dips, and high to low crossovers hit the target. And here's a pro move. Train your weakest portion first in the session, when you're fresh and strongest. If your upper chest is lacking, hit incline work before anything else. Over time, this simple shift can completely rebalance your chest shape. Mistake number 4. Not locking your shoulder blades. One of the fastest ways to kill your chest gains and wreck your shoulders in the process is to press without locking your shoulder blades in place. Most people don't even realize they're doing it, but it's one of those details that separates a solid lifter from someone just going through the motions. Here's what happens. If your shoulder blades aren't pulled back and down, your shoulders will roll forward as you press. The second that happens, tension leaves your pecs and shifts to the front delts and the delicate structures in your shoulder joint. Over time, this can mean 2 things: a chest that never fully develops, and a shoulder that starts nagging you every time you reach overhead. The fix is straightforward, but requires focus every single set. Before you start any pressing movement, barbell, dumbbell, cable, or even push-ups, set your base. Think about pulling your shoulder blades together and slightly down, like you're trying to tuck them into your back pockets. At the same time, lift your chest slightly, so it's the highest point of your torso, and keep a natural, small arch in your lower back. This position does two things. It gives you a rock-solid platform to press from, and it maximizes pec fiber recruitment. The key is maintaining that retraction and depression throughout the entire set, not just the first rep. Most lifters set up perfectly, but by rep 6 or 7, their shoulders creep forward and the chest stops doing the work. Apply this to every chest exercise you do: presses, flies, dips, even push-ups. And you'll notice an immediate difference in how heavy the weight feels and how hard your pecs contract. It's one of those small technical changes that can completely transform your chest training over time. Mistake. Number 5. Letting your triceps and shoulders steal the show. Ever finish a chest workout and realize your triceps are on fire, but your pecs barely feel pumped? That's a dead giveaway. You're letting the wrong muscles do the heavy lifting. The bench press, push-ups, and even the pec deck all require help from your triceps and shoulders. That's normal. The problem is when those muscles start taking over completely. This usually happens when your elbows are tucked in too close to your torso or flared way too wide. Both positions shift the load away from the pecs and onto the assisting muscles. One overworks your triceps, the other hammers your shoulders. The sweet spot is keeping your elbows at about a 45-degree angle from your body. This allows your pecs to stay in the driver's seat while still letting the supporting muscles do their job. Hand placement matters here too. Going too narrow turns it into a triceps exercise, while going too wide can put your shoulders in a vulnerable position. Here's the fix. If you want your pecs to grow, they have to be the ones taking the brunt of the work. Drop the weight to a load you can control and focus on feeling the chest contract and stretch on every rep. Fly variations, cable crossovers, and dumbbell presses are great for building that mind-muscle connection. Once you've locked in that sensation, bring it back to your heavier compound lifts and keep your elbows in that optimal range. Heavy weight with bad activation is just wasted effort. But a slightly lighter weight with laser-focused chest engagement, that's where real growth happens. Mistake number 6. Training volume that's all wrong. When it comes to chest growth, the number of quality sets you do each week is a make-or-break factor. And here's the thing. Most people either aren't doing enough to trigger growth, or they're doing so much that their recovery never catches up. Both kill progress. If you're only hitting 6 to 8 total chest sets per week, you're probably not providing enough stimulus for your muscles to adapt and grow. On the flip side, if you're blasting through 25+ sets every week, you're likely just breaking down muscle tissue faster than your body can rebuild it. Remember, growth happens during recovery, not during the workout itself. The sweet spot for most lifters is somewhere between 10 and 20 challenging sets per week for chest. Beginners can get great results on the lower end of that range, while more advanced lifters might need to push toward the upper limit to keep progressing. The key word here is challenging. A set where you stop 5 reps away from failure doesn't count the same as a set where you're grinding out those last 2 reps with perfect form. Here's the fix. Track your total weekly sets, not just per workout. If you're currently doing 12 chest sets in a single day, try splitting that into 2 workouts of 6 sets each. This improves recovery, maintains higher quality across all sets, and lets you train with more intensity in each session. Listen to your body. If your chest is still sore, or your pressing strength feels weaker than normal, that's a sign you need more recovery time or slightly fewer sets. The goal is to find that balance where you're pushing hard enough to grow, but not so hard that you're constantly playing catch-up with recovery. Mistake number 7. Training chest. Only once a week. The old-school Monday is chest day routine is one of the main reasons chest growth stalls for so many lifters. When you train your pecs only once every 7 days, you're missing out on multiple opportunities to stimulate growth. After an intense workout, the chest usually recovers within 48 to 72 hours. That means, by midweek, your pecs are ready for more work. But if your split only calls for chest again the following Monday, the muscle just sits idle for several days without any stimulus to keep the growth process going. The solution is to increase your training frequency. Hitting the chest twice a week allows you to apply more frequent growth signals while avoiding the massive fatigue that comes from cramming all your volume into a single session. Instead of pushing through 12 to 16 exhausting sets in one workout, you can split them into 2 focused sessions where you maintain higher quality and intensity in each set. This also reduces the risk of joint strain and helps you keep better form throughout the workout. To make the most of this approach, vary the emphasis between the 2 sessions. One day can focus more on compound lifts, like bench presses and incline presses, while the other emphasizes isolation moves such as flies and crossovers. Over time, this not only provides more total quality work, but also ensures balanced development across the upper, middle, and lower chest. Studies consistently show that, for the same total weekly volume, spreading the workload across 2 or more sessions leads to better results than doing it all at once. Training chest twice a week is one of the simplest and most effective ways to break through plateaus and see faster progress. Mistake number 8. Not progressively increasing the load. The human body is a master of adaptation. Give it the same challenge over and over, and it will stop changing because it no longer needs to. That's exactly what happens when you train your chest with the same weight, the same reps, and the same exercises week after week. At first, you might see some progress, but eventually, your muscles settle into maintenance mode and growth stops. Progressive overload is the key to breaking out of that rut. It doesn't just mean adding more weight to the bar, although that's one effective way to do it. You can also increase the number of reps you perform with a given weight, add an extra set, reduce your rest time between sets, or slow down the tempo of each rep, especially during the lowering phase, to create more time under tension. The goal is to gradually make the exercise more challenging, so your muscles are forced to adapt by getting bigger and stronger. The smartest approach is to progress in cycles. Spend several weeks increasing your reps with a certain weight until you hit the upper limit you've set for yourself, then slightly increase the load and drop the reps back down, starting the cycle again. Keep track of everything: weights, reps, sets, and even how each session felt, so you can clearly see your progress and know when it's time to push further. Trying to jump too far too fast, like adding a huge amount of weight in a single week, usually backfires by wrecking your form and increasing the risk of injury. But steady, consistent progression keeps your chest adapting over the long term. It's not about crushing your muscles in one workout. It's about building them bigger and stronger month after month. Building a bigger, stronger, and better-shaped chest isn't about doing random exercises and hoping for the best. It's about eliminating the small mistakes that hold you back and replacing them with habits that keep your pecs growing week after week. Control the eccentric phase. Work through a full range of motion. Train all portions of the chest. Lock in your shoulder blades. Stop letting your triceps and shoulders take over. Hit the right training volume. Train more than once a week. And keep progressing your load. Master these fundamentals, and you'll start noticing changes not just in the mirror, but in the way your chest feels and performs in every workout. The best part is that you don't need to overhaul your entire program to see results. Even fixing 1 or 2 of these mistakes can have a massive impact on your chest development. Most lifters stay stuck, not because they don't train hard enough, but because they repeat the same flawed patterns over and over without realizing it. Break those patterns and you unlock a new level of potential. What's the one thing you're changing in your training after this? If this video gave you at least one aha moment, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let's keep building this together.